Yo, good morning, beautiful people. Welcome into the facility. If you've never checked us out, hopefully we bring the smiles, we bring the laughs, educate, entertain a little bit, talk about sports, maybe an escape from the mundane, stressful life you might be living. Happy Tuesday to y'all, wherever you are. That's Eagles Hall of Fame, leading rusher, LaShawn Shady McCoy. The name Shady, we've already told you how he got it, but he's no longer Shady. So growth, maturation.
I'm just happy to have a better day. After that whole Denzel show we had, you realize that you was wrong.
I do that sometimes. Growth, maturation. To my left, the quarterback, 14-year NFL pro, the one and only Chase Daniel. Chase, no football for the little man right now. How are we filling our time?
I got him working out in the gym yesterday.
There you go.
He's only 7.5. He did some walking. And some 5-pound dumbbells. I said, just hold them while you walk.
I love it.
One day at a time, man.
You better than me, because I be in there.
You get in them?
And I be in there. Hey, my career over, homeboy. You telling me you got all these dreams. You get in this gym? Hey.
Not yet.
On the far end, that is James Jones, Packers Super Bowl.
Really quick,
What up,
we're all
James?
family on this show.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I like to, know my brothers.
You never know where this is going, by the way. Anytime James Jones says, hey, real quick.
He says real quick.
First off, it's never quick. It's never quick. And the second thing,
never is quick.
He genuinely doesn't necessarily know what you can and can't say on television. So, like, he might end up asking about, Chase's relationship history.
My love life.
He might ask about his love life. He might ask about my finances. He might ask about Shady. You just never know.
Okay, so what you got, Doug?
And that's my reputation.
That was pretty crazy, though.
That's all good.
Go, James.
What's your real middle names?
Oh,
Yeah, what's your real middle name?
LaShawn?
Listen, I ain't telling you my brother, dog. Come on, man.
Yeah, we brothers, Lord. That's the same shit.
You can Google it.
Come on,
But it
man.
seems like y'all been real nosy to me.
What's your real middle name?
My real middle name, Chinedu. Nigerian, it means God guides me. Or Chinedu, it means God guides me. Now you want to get involved in the middle name.
Wait, run that thing back. They didn't catch that. Say it.
Chi means God in Igbo. Chinedu, it means God guides me.
Let's speed up.
Chinedu, God guides me.
Okay. All right, Chinedu.
What's your middle name, my man?
Chase.
Is it?
What's your first name?
William. I got 3 first names. Not like that.
William Chase.
William Chase.
William Chase.
Daniel, not Daniel.
No S, dog.
No S.
No S.
James Jones?
DeAndre. James DeAndre Jones, man.
Okay.
Real.
That's a nice little name.
It's the real urban. It's the real urban. It's the real urban.
Sean.
Yo, I'm not saying that.
We'll Google it.
Crazy, huh?
Okay, well, let's stick with the Eagle here to talk about the Eagles, shall we? The Eagles won the Super Bowl. We know that. They won it a few months ago. But Saquon Barkley, the star running back, also on the cover of Madden, he said this: we know the recipe as it pertains to going back to Super Bowl. We know the recipe and we know what it takes. Shady, won't tell us your middle name, but tell me this. Do you expect the Eagles to repeat a Super Bowl
I
championship?
truly do, right? You talk about having experience. Now, I think with a young team, we still have that experience. Going to Super Bowl 2 times in the last 4 years. Quarterback. We got a winning top-tier elite quarterback, right? You talk about winning games, winning Super Bowls, that's what he does best. Wide receivers. I mean, we got the best wide receiver in football, in my opinion, A.J. Brown, right? Mm-hmm. And that duo is a top 5 with Smitty himself. And then the best running back, the best offensive player of last season, Saquon Barkley.
Correct.
He is still there. He works extremely hard. He's ready for another repeat, as in championships and potentially all pro. And then I just look at this overall, our team, and like defensive-wise. I mean, I've never seen anybody whoop on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs like that. That's healthy. People talk about that Bucs team. Yeah, they weren't healthy. They had
Both tackles out.
Both tackles out. So maybe you could get like that. Here you're at your best, right? And you're at a place where you're always at, Super Bowl. So you have that experience, and we handle them. So I think defensive-wise, really, really good. And then like all them young players that played really well last year, and then second year they're gonna play even better.
Yeah.
I just don't think that when I watch the NFL, I don't see where other teams made a big leap, big jump to close that gap with us. You talk about talent, you talk about team rosters, you talk about coaching, all them boxes we check. And that's why I think we go back to Super Bowl winning.
Incredibly well said. I think the Eagles are poised to repeat, but you have to remember just how dominant the Eagles were last year. First thing I want y'all to realize, the Eagles' record the last 17 games of the regular season, 16-1. They join a list of, I believe, only 9 other teams in the history of the National Football League. It's 16-1 over the last 17 games. So that just shows you how dominant that Eagles team is. But I want to increase their level of dominance and show y'all an even smaller list. Think about the point differential the Eagles had en route to winning that Super Bowl. 3rd in the history of the game of football, playoff points differential. 17 points per game is what they won by, dismantling this century, dismantling the Kansas City Chiefs, dismantling Jaden Daniels and that team with the Washington Commanders, dismantling the Green Bay Packers, and beating the Los Angeles Rams. So not only are the Eagles 16-1 over the last 17 games, they dismantled every team they saw outside of the Rams en route to the playoffs. I only have 3 questions for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's it. Just 3 questions. Number 1 is a question that's universal. Can the Eagles stay healthy?
That's it.
You stay healthy, I think they're
number
fine.
1.
Yeah.
Now, secondly, because I know the Eagles very well, let me dive into the nuances of that team. Number 2, who's going to replace Darius Slay and start opposite Quinyon Mitchell? Right now, I'm hearing it's going to be Ringo, draft pick, I believe, of 3 years ago. But who's going to replace Darius Slay? Darius Slay, I believe, is the best Eagles cornerback over the last 15 years. Who's going to replace him? Then my last question, how does that young defense handle success? The reason the Eagles are so good is because the defense is so young. Quinyon Mitchell, rookie deal. Jalen Carter, rookie deal. Jordan Davis, rookie deal. Nolan Smith, rookie deal. Jahad Campbell, going to be on his rookie deal, who's replacing Nakobe Dean because he's injured, rookie deal. Cooper DeJean, rookie deal. That defense is so young. How will they handle the success of last year? Will they all continue to get better, or will they start to feel themselves, assuming success comes easy? Remember, all of those Eagles rookies, all they know is Super Bowl, playoffs, Super Bowl. They might think this is just what happens and might not be committed to the work, though I trust that they will be along with Vic Fangio. I only got 3 questions that may keep the Eagles from repeating, but I think they do.
So if you get all those are good questions. If they're check marks, check on all those, you think that
1,000%.
they can do it.
1,000%.
That's a good point. Yeah, look, I expect the Eagles to repeat. It's not going to be easy. Okay, so we set up here and we're saying, hey, all these things and Shady's, and I agree, like they're they're the most well-constructed team in the NFL. Like top to bottom, coaches to the 53rd man player, to their practice squad, to their GM, to the receiver room, to like everything. You look at them, you're like, there's really no weaknesses.
Correct.
Like on paper, there's really no weaknesses, right? And you still got to go out there and you got to do it. My thing is like when you do win a Super Bowl, and a lot of us on this desk have, the next year, it's a different year than you've ever experienced before. I was able to win it in 2009 with the Saints, and I was a 3rd string quarterback, so I just got to view it, everything. Took copious amounts of notes. Your off-season's shortened. You play for a lot longer. Everyone's tired. Everyone's hungover from partying. Everyone's like, oh, this is just going to happen again. And you go through seasons, and there's bumps and bruises. That's why there's only been 9 repeat champions in the history of the game out of 60 Super Bowls or 59 Super Bowls, whatever there is. So it's going to be difficult because there are different types of stuff that people struggle with, especially teams struggle with. And my thing with this team, they are experienced, and they are young, and all they do know is winning. But if you look at the history of the Eagles, going back to 2017, their Super Bowl win with Nick Foles. The next year, what happened? 2018 playoff loss, divisional round Saints. So a little bit of a letdown. They made the playoffs. That's great. 2022 Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs. The next year, 2023 playoff loss in the wild card round to the Bucks. And they started 10-1 that season, so they started fast. But that's what I'm sort of getting at. When you start fast in 10-1, and there's stuff that went wrong down the stretch for them, right? They lost 6 of their last 7 games in that year. It's just how do they handle that? Because they've been in a situation like that before. How do you get ready to not have a letdown? And the season is so long. If you can stay healthy, eventually there's gonna be a letdown. So I'm looking forward to it. They're easily the favorite. Plus 650 to win is wild. But if you look at those things that they're gonna have to try to get better at, it's a lot.
Expect is the word that, kind of caught my attention because that's kind of like a guarantee. You know what I mean? I ain't Charles Barkley, but it's hard to guarantee something in football because of all those boxes that you got to check. And the number one box is the health box.
Yeah.
But if healthy, they have one of the best chances out of anybody to accomplish that. But Matthew Stafford's going to have a really good chance. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is going to have a really good chance. So expect that's tough for me. But this roster, the way this roster is, you got Saquon Barkley, the bell cow on that offense and really on that team, a really good defense, a really good quarterback. They are going to have a really good chance. But expect it is so many things that have to go right to win a Super Bowl. I've won a Super Bowl as well. And the next year, number one, you are going to get everybody's best shot, from the worst team to the best team. They are going to prepare for you because you know what? You are their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They believe you are the best team in football, so you are their Super Bowl. So it's going to be extra film study. It's going to be extra preparation. It's going to be all that to get ready for you. You're going to get the players on the opposing team playing a whole lot harder than they was playing against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's just what's going to happen. So expect. It's tough to sit up here and say expect, but they are going to have a really good chance. I mean, they're a phenomenal football team. 2 out of the last 3 years they've been in the Super Bowl and they've been in the playoffs. So they're going to have a really good chance. But there's a couple of teams out there that got better too. That's going to have something to say about it too. Like the Los Angeles Rams. We'll have something to say about it. Yeah, y'all did beat them last year. It's a whole new year. You know that.
No. We beat them a couple times.
I know that, but it's a whole new year. New players. New year.
I do got a question for the Super Bowl champs at the desk. I got to start with the two on the left because, Shady, I don't know if it's applicable to you. James, in 2010, y'all win the Super Bowl. Y'all go 10-6. The next year, what stopped you from repeating? Was it injuries? Was it opponents? Was it arrogance? Was it too much humility? Was it y'all were too confident? Was it y'all were too scared? What stopped y'all from repeating the next year?
There you go, opening up wounds. Well, the next year we came out on fire. We started, I believe, 13-0. We was rolling. Yeah, we was rolling. We was 13-0. We finished the season 15-1. But them last 3 games, all the problems started catching up to us. All right, wasn't playing our best football. That 10-6 year, right? We started off slow, finished the season strong. We was rolling at the end of the year. But it wasn't no injuries. We had a really good football team, really talented football team. We just wasn't playing our best football at the end of the year, and it happens like that.
Was it a focus thing? Was it like there's a lack of focus that the Eagles need to be mindful of? Was it a, hey, we've already won a Super Bowl before, so now the end of the season we just put it on cruise control? Is it a lack of focus?
I think cruise control is the word. I think you get a little complacent. You get in cruise control like, man, we 15-1. Ain't nobody finna come in our building. The Giants are 60. Giants come in our building and beat us? Nah, that ain't gonna happen. So, you know, got a little too confident, little complacent. You know, not preparing as much, but, I mean, them other teams just played better than us, man. There wasn't no injuries. There wasn't no excuses. We just got beat down at the end of the season.
Chase, 2009, y'all win. 2010, y'all lose to the wild card.
We won it in 2009, and we started 13-0 that year, and then lost our next 3. We had already clinched the number 1, and then went on a run through the playoffs. But I just remember that offseason being so much shorter, and guys just weren't ready to get back, right? We go 11-5. In 2010, but it wasn't as easy. We didn't get as many turnovers on defense. We turned the ball over a little bit more on offense. I think it just became a point where we were just tired. And that's what I was trying to say in my early take. It's like there becomes a time where...
Mentally or physically?
Both. I mean, because you're playing so many extra games. You're playing 3 extra games the year before, and then you get, I remember Sean Payton saying, hey, take a month off. We don't need phase 1 because you need more rest. And then you go through it, and every year, that's what I'm trying to, make people understand. Every year, every team is different. This Eagles team is not the same as they were last year, and that's good. They could be a lot better. You have to, every single year, and I think that's what Nick Sirianni and some of these great coaches do, is you have to find your identity of this team. Because you lose guys in free agency. The Eagles have lost 5 starters defensively. You have to figure out a way to replace those guys. Yes, you draft them. You don't know how it's all going to come together until about halfway through the year. And once you get that going, I think you have a better shot.
Now, Shady, funny enough, you won back-to-back Super Bowls, but you won back-to-back Super Bowls on 2 different teams. So I'm not sure this question is applicable to you because you actually did repeat, but you repeated individually. You didn't repeat collectively.
I can't answer how they answer because they play on the same team.
But you know what it took to win and then to go win again. Do you think there's a recipe?
Yeah, I just, all these things you guys are saying is true. Like, you can't get fatigued, but I just think it has to be with the leaders. You know, because like look at
that's a good point.
you don't think the Chiefs are tired, right? But the real core of that group is still there. Kelsey's still there, Andy Reid's still there, Chris Jones still there, Pat's still there. So no matter like what players come in and out, our nucleus is our nucleus. What we start with, what our foundation is, that's what it is. So when we have these meetings and coaches trying to put, you know, I'm trying to get these new players that we might acquire from the draft or free agency to fit in our team. Andy Reid gonna say his little message, he's gonna say all that, but it's gonna come from the players, right? Like I don't even think if these guys are gonna go the next year win 13 in a row or 13 in a row if they don't have Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers there to kind of get that message out. So it's all how you look at it. I just think that the Eagles, we have everything you need to repeat, right? You talk about talent. I mean, come on, man.
It just becomes a culture, too.
And it's
like
a
culture of success. And culture is different for every team. But like with this Eagles team, it's like, hey, you have such a young nucleus and young core. This is what's expected of you. You don't like try to stick out. You try to fit in with the culture that Nick Sirianni, that Jalen Hurts, that Saquon Barkley, all those boys have heard. Like I listened to Saquon yesterday talking about repeat, and he said all the right things, but it's truly what he believes. It's the little things that set us apart. It's the little things every single day. It's the details every single day. So it's a culture that this team has set that where these young boys and these young starters are coming in, this is what's expected. We're expected to at least get to the playoffs. We're expected to make a deep run, and then with some luck and with some injury health, it could all come together.
Hey, well, what's expected is that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder win the MVP and win the finals. So if SGA does indeed win regular season MVP and then finals MVP, one of only, I believe, 14 players in the history of basketball to do so, what in the world would that mean? Hey, that's next. Don't forget, check us out every day, Fox Sports Channel, Sirius XM. Hey, what a year for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, already named regular season MVP, and now he's trying to bring a championship to Oklahoma City for the first time in the history of that franchise's location.
Yes, very good. Very good.
Now, if not only he wins it, well, joined by Rick Bucher, if you've watched this show for more than a day, you've seen this intelligent gentleman sitting here to my left, knows all there is to know about basketball. Slick, if SGA becomes just the 11th player to win finals MVP and regular season MVP in the same year, what in the world would that mean for him, the landscape of basketball? What does it mean for SGA?
It would put him in the conversation of top 5 point guards of all time.
Hold on, all time?
All time. All time. Because if he wins finals MVP and he's won regular season MVP, it goes to stand that he also won the championship. He's not winning finals MVP unless they win the championship. There's only been 2 point guards in the history of the game to win regular season MVP, a championship, and be named finals MVP in the same year. Magic Johnson is the only other one to do it. There have been Steph Curry won regular season MVP and won a championship. He wasn't finals MVP.
Yep.
Bob Cousy.
Bob
Regular season
Cousy.
MVP, going back. So as young as he is and as much as we're just being introduced to SGA, you look at that kind of season, that kind of dominance in 1 year. I don't know how you don't have him in the conversation for top 5 point guards.
But isn't it because, like, one, that's a bold statement, a very bold statement. But the thing for me is it's just been 1 year.
Yep.
Like, if SGA wins finals MVP, to me right now it means nothing because it's going to take time for it to catch up. Like, SGA is doing everything so suddenly. 2-5, I think about it. When Giannis finally won his championship, he had won Defensive Player of the Year. He'd also won MVP. We had time to understand that Giannis was going to be great. Right. When Nikola Jokic finally won a championship, he had won a couple MVPs. We saw it. When Kevin Durant finally won a finals MVP, he already had a regular season MVP. It built up over time. When LeBron James finally won an MVP, you saw it simultaneously, 2020, 2009, he wins an MVP. When Steph Curry finally won the finals MVP, he had already won it. We had time to understand, oh, this dude's good. SGA, it's happening too fast.
Yep.
You know how when you see lightning strike and then you hear the thunder, you have time to be like, oh, there's about to be a sound.
Yes.
SGA, it's all happening too fast, Slick. I can't immediately just thrust him in the top 5 all time after 1 year.
But it doesn't change that lightning struck. And I think one of the reasons why it's catching us the way that it is because we suddenly have the legion of previous stars that are no longer in the picture. Steph Curry is no longer in the picture. LeBron James is no longer in the picture. Kevin Durant is no longer in the picture. Like, as far as playing for championships and deciding this part of the season. The field is wide open, and SGA has stepped into it with both feet. So I hear you. I mean, when I thought about it, I'm like, can that really be? But if you look at this accomplishment and you look at some of the other guys that we've talked about, Chris Paul, it's more the longevity of his career. But if we're talking about top 5, if we're talking about the greatest point guards of all time, leading your team to 68 wins, being the regular season MVP, winning a championship, and being the reason your team won that championship, how do you put a Chris Paul or a Steve Nash or even a John Stockton? And keep in mind, I'm saying he's in the conversation. I'm not immediately planting him there because we kind of have to see we have to see it happen. But I feel like 2 weeks from now, when I expect that OKC is going to be lifting that Larry O'Brien trophy and he's going to be lifting the Michael Jordan trophy, that we are going to be, we're going to get a little more comfortable with the idea that SGA is that.
Top 5?
Yeah, dang, Slick. Top 5 all time.
Top 5 dead or alive?
Conversation.
I'm giving, this is like a warning shot. By the way, I have to ask. So, would it be dry snitching if I shared your middle name up here?
What do you think?
I think it would be.
Okay.
So I'm not going to. I just wanted to double check.
There you go.
But no, I'm bringing this up because I know it's a shock to the system. It was a shock to my system when I started thinking about it. But I think we have to start thinking about SGA in those terms. Otherwise, I think what happens is we start finding excuses why not, or rationale why not, because it's so new to us. This can't be true. But when I look at what he's done, I can't deny it.
This one was tough for me, too, to answer. And, I mean, we have a totally different answer, Slick, because even when the playoffs started, we knew that it was a very, 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 very strong possibility he was going to win MVP. Best record on the best team. We knew. And we still didn't even consider or talk about him like that. We still was asking the questions, is he a superstar? Let alone, you know what I mean, him being a top 5 point guard of all time. So for me, what he has accomplished in the playoffs is just, you on it, hey, KD, you see me? LeBron, you see me? Hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
I've arrived, and I'm going to be a problem for a long time in this Western conference that you guys are going to have to go through and see me because my team is really good and I'm really good. And I have an MVP with that. I got a Western Conference MVP and I could have a Finals MVP. I am here and I ain't going nowhere. I think that's what that would mean if Shai was able to accomplish all of them in 1 year. I cannot sit here and say that, top 5 point guard or he's just the best player in the league or something like that. I think it's just, hey, fellas, I'm here. I have arrived. You guys see me. And if you didn't see me, you see all the things that I've accomplished in these playoffs as well and the regular season. I think that's what this season has meant for Shai.
Now you see me, now you don't. So for me, man, a lot of different things, right? A lot of bucket list stuff he's going to hit if he wins this MVP, or a Finals MVP, and he wins the Finals. So first of all, elite company, right? Similar to what Slick is saying, but not this what he's saying. Because Rick is saying the best, top 5 all time. I'm not going there. But I will say this. He would be the best Thunder we've ever seen. That's hard to say. You had Kevin Durant. You had
Russell Westbrook.
James.
You got James. There are a lot of them over there. But the thing is, they didn't win no championship. So imagine how all them accolades, and all them games, win all them games, see all them great plays, and then it ends in confetti. That's a whole nother topic. That's one. Another thing is, he's chasing to be the best player in our league. Yeah, go from our team to the league. If you look at his track record, because Acho said something I was thinking about, man, he's saying, we need to see him enough times to see how great he really is. But if you really watch his work, his resume, so this is a 3-year type of thing he's been working this thing out. 3 years straight, first team All-NBA, that is hard to do. Yep. Guys like Luka was doing that, and we was crowning him how good he was. Man, all his first teams and this and that third, but he didn't end up about to get a confetti. Yep. He is. So it's all about the journey. And I always say, where players come from. When they make that trade, they didn't know they was getting an SGA like this. No. And if you watch him year after year, not only is he getting better, his team is getting better. And his team is getting so much better now, they are in the finals. And the last thing I'm going to say, I thought for a while maybe the Celtics would be the team that I can see doing the next dynasties, right? You know, winning 2 or 3 of these things in a row type of thing, right? Take a break, then win another one because the team was so good, they were coached so well, superstar power. When I look at OKC, I see that.
They are.
I see a team that had to work through draft picks, then they got the draft picks, and the draft picks worked. That's the hardest part, to get the draft picks, and now you got them, go out there and pick them, and you pick them, they are good. They got that. Now you got a superstar player. So, okay, now I got my foundation. I got the player I can build around, right? I got this tree. Now I got to get these branches right.
Yep.
And when you start looking at all the pieces they have around them, they have that.
Good team.
So you talk about dynasty, they won in games last year, right? The people didn't believe in them, but they did a good year. Now this year they won a championship, and then you add on, they got a lot of money to spend also, that we talked about, and they got draft picks.
That is true.
Like next year they can say, yeah, we don't want to draft nobody. And they can go out there and spend a little money and get an offensive scorer for the second team, and they're going to be good. Mm-hmm. I think they got the next dynasty coming up, fellas.
That is. They are built the right way for a long time.
They built like you. It's like when you look at her like, woo, she have no flaws. The hair long down, got the nice eyes, got the nice skin. Yeah. She smell good, right? I don't know what she tastes like, but she smell great. Yeah. And then you watch how she walk. She got that walk to her, and she can dress. It's like, I don't want nothing. I just want you. I want nothing else.
You want to get to know her.
Just give me you.
You want to get to know her. You want to know her middle name.
I want everything. Middle name, first name, last name. Look, and then you say, hopefully, I want to forget your last name and give you my last name. And that's what they got over there.
Hey, really quick though, because because you said top 5 of all time.
By the way, lock for top 50 as well.
Ooh,
lock for top 50.
So
he's going to knock somebody out of top 75.
That's
right?
fair.
And I actually disagree with you when it comes to the Thunder.
That's fair.
I'm not, and this might sound like I'm contradicting myself,
Out of top
but
75?
I'm not sure I would make him the all-time greatest Thunder player, because I look at KD with 4 scoring titles. I look at, he had to plant a flag in OKC. Like, he had to establish that franchise in a new location. And they went through their struggles early on, and he won 10 playoff series for them. Like, the longevity and the impact of KD on the franchise, I look at as a little bit different as far as the prism of point guards and what they've done.
But if you want to though, because I heard this and I like it stated like this is, he would be the greatest Thunder player ever, but he might not be the greatest player that ever played for the Thunder.
There you go.
Yes.
And because I would say Kevin Durant's the best player.
Kevin Durant is easily the greatest player to have ever played for the Thunder. But if SGA wins a chip, he would have to be the greatest Thunder player ever, because you bring a chip to a city that ain't got a chip before, that's hard to do.
What this underscores is you generally don't have point guards that are dominant in this way.
Well, that's a different question, because that's why I don't like suggesting he's a top 5 point guard of all time, because John Stockton didn't play point guard like this. Steve Nash didn't play point guard like this. If you were to play point guard like this back in the 80s and the 90s, you wouldn't be a point guard. You would be a 2 guard. Point guards were traditionalists. They were pass first point guards. They were not putting up 33 points a game. That would be unheralded. That would almost be an injustice to the position back in the 1980s and the 1990s and even the early thousands. Tony Parker's not scoring 30 points a game. That would have been an injustice to Tim Duncan, to Manu Ginobili, amongst others. Karl Malone existed. It was the job of the point guard to serve everyone around him. Now the job of the point guard in the modern NBA is to serve himself first, and if I get double teamed, then I'll pass the ball. So I just think it's unfair to look at previous point guards through the prism of the modern day point guard and usher Shai higher than previous point guards based upon metrics that we weren't using for other point guards.
I would agree with that. I think it's easier to apply that to Steph Curry, because you have a Draymond Green who is the playmaker, who has led that team, led the team in assists like 7 years in a row, right, through their heyday. But Shai is the primary playmaker for this team as well. So I think he's still, while to your point, it's fair, like you didn't have scoring point guards to this level, but he still fills that role as a distributor and a playmaker as well. So I think he fits the profile of even the old school point guard to as much as you can in today's game.
Hey, well, speaking
real quick,
go ahead.
Middle name. What's your middle name, brother? Part of the family.
Matthias.
Oh.
My late father's.
Love it.
Like, that's
And my son's.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's a strong little name. Strong Strong middle name. Hey, when we return, speaking to point guards, or at least distributing the ball, Shedeur Sanders back in action for the Cleveland Browns and OTAs. But can he separate himself from the pack in Cleveland? That is hopefully the next superstar, Shedeur.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. Like with the road trippers we see here in their natural habitat, the breakfast area at a Comfort Inn. Here's a dad teaching his son how to make waffles, fluffy golden waffles. There's a mom making sure her daughter eats some fruit to avoid the I'm hungry from the back seat. And a sibling standoff over the last muffin. This is the cycle of vacation maximizationing in all its glory. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
The Browns are back in their OTAs today, which means more practice time for Shedeur Sanders, a man that was overlooked far too many times in the draft, not selected until the 5th round, though many believed he would be a first-round pick. Well, now he's in Cleveland, joining a quarterback room with Joe Flacco, former Super Bowl champion, Kenny Pickett, former first-round pick, and Dylan Gabriel, third-round pick to the exact same team in the exact same draft class, the Cleveland Browns. Shedeur Sanders is in an incredibly crowded quarterback room. We have all been in OTAs before, 38 years or so of OTA experience. That's off-season team activities, led by Chase Daniel with 14 years of OTA experience at the quarterback position. So when you answer this question, Chase, you answer it with more firsthand experience than most people on television. Shedeur, can he separate himself from the pack, back at practice, helmets on, pads on, team is there, coaching staff is there. Can he separate himself from the pack?
Pads aren't on.
Yeah, helmets on.
It's just helmets.
Helmets on.
And it's just short. So for right now, no. No, I don't think in OTAs you can win or lose a job. You can change some opinions, though, where I think that Shedeur, if he is going to separate himself from the pack, it has to be during training camp, more specifically during preseason games. Now, for him to separate himself from the pack, what I take that question is, can he be the starter day one? This is what this question is asking me for on the field when he gets back, if he has a good preseason. I think it's going to take one of the greatest preseason performances of all time to vault him to start right away. Now, that's not to say he can't do it through the course of the season. Now, I eventually think that Shedeur should and needs to start games, I think, sooner rather than later, so the Browns can see what he has so he can grow. But he's competing right now with Dylan Gabriel for the third quarterback spot. Let's just make sure we understand it. I think a lot of this people at this desk think that Flacco and Pickett will be competing for the starting job to start. Now, that's not to say that he can't have a great preseason and get in that mix to start some games. Now, the question in the story that I want to tell really is, when I was with Sean Payton and I was a rookie, and same with Andy Reid when I was in the 4th year, they said something to me that will stick with me for the rest of time. And it was about, hey, like, Coach, I went up to Sean Payton, what can I do to, like, make you see what I have in OTAs? Nothing. What about in training camp? Nothing. He said, the only thing that I care about is how you play in preseason games, because it's the biggest thing that we take into effect when we are developing and underlying the theme of quarterbacks. This is how we judge you. It's preseason games. So I do think Shedeur right now, it's a no. If he plays well in the preseason, we can talk about that then.
Hey, real quick before I go, out of them 4, right? Because they're probably not going to keep 4 quarterbacks. Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine.
Who do you think gets cut out of them 4?
Great question. And I do not have a crystal ball.
If you had to guess,
You're going to say Joe Flacco, right?
If you had to guess,
it's one of the top 2, Flacco or Kenny Pickett.
They're going to take.
I don't think they'll have 2 veteran guys.
Okay. What should Kendrick separate himself from the pack? A couple things. So one, I think in OTAs, I think you can show something, and I think you can jump Dylan Gabriel if you play well. I think that's a guy who people over there, coaches, some coaches I know over there, players I know over there, they already think that Shedeur's better than him. So now if you go out here and you play well, I think OTAs, I think you make that jump first. Let's just stop playing. Let's cut to the chase. He jumps on top of him, right? So now you're in 3rd place. Okay. Then I think going forward, how you really can change is probably in the preseason. Yeah. And I was thinking, like, Shady, who's a good comparison or a similar situation that rookie quarterback that had a chance to start, but how they get there? And it was some guys like Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson. If you look at Dak, he was 5-0. 5-0 as in 5 touchdowns, 0 picks.
Preseason?
Preseason. In 3 games. He looked good. Okay, maybe we could start this dude. Yeah.
Russ was
Look at Russ. Russ was like 5 for 1. That means 5 touchdowns and 1 pick in 4 games. And it was like, okay, we got this young kid. Maybe we can start him. And it started with OTAs, and then it finished with the preseason. And I think if Shedeur goes in the preseason and balls out, because I think you already make that one jump over Dylan Gabriel in OTAs, and then we put them pads on, we go out there, we really go out there and we hitting, and we want to see what you got when the coach ain't on the field talking to you.
Yeah.
I think if he does that, he'll have a chance, man.
Yeah, I agree with Shady in the fact of this. He can separate himself from Dylan Gabriel, but that's where it starts and it stops for me. The reason I suggest this is at training camp, there are 2 packs typically going on. There's the pack of rookies competing against rookies or rookies competing against first-year players. Then there's vets competing against vets. When I got to Cleveland and I was drafted in the 6th round, I was competing against James Michael Johnson, 4th-round pick that same year, linebacker from Nevada, who was drafted in the 4th round. I was competing against L.J. Fort, undrafted linebacker out of UN something. I was competing against Craig Robertson, first-year linebacker out of North Texas. I wasn't competing against DeQuell Jackson or Scott Fujita or Chris Gokong or Kaluka Mayava. I wasn't competing against the vets. I was competing against that second pack of the younger crop of kids. I think right now Shedeur's competing against Dylan Gabriel. The reason I think he can separate himself, if Gabriel proves himself to be bad, which I believe can do, Shedeur might not be able to jump him on the depth chart, but he'll jump him in perception and in everybody's mind. So as soon as you get to training camp, Dylan Gabriel's leash is much shorter, Shedeur's is much longer. But Shedeur right now, he can't separate himself from Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett, because Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco are competent NFL quarterbacks. That's why they're still in the NFL. Right now, Dylan Gabriel nor Shedeur Sanders, we don't know if they're competent NFL quarterbacks. Either one of those quarterbacks could actually be terrible, in which case the other one can separate himself.
Let me ask a question before James goes. That's
Yeah,
cool.
my brother.
So you said something interesting. So the whole thing was interesting. But specifically when it comes to Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, you had said that you think Dylan Gabriel can change some opinions Shedeur Sanders can change some opinions and he could potentially leapfrog, maybe not on the depth chart, Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, me too.
But you
said that too.
Okay, cool. But you didn't say this part, Shady. Only Acho did. You said his leash is going to be much longer than Dylan Gabriel's. You think Dylan Gabriel's leash is short. Please explain that to me.
I said this. If Shedeur completely outperforms Dylan Gabriel right now at OTAs, come training camp, I don't know if Shedeur will start as the 3. I think Gabriel will still start at the 3. But if Shedeur is better in perception than Gabriel, I think come training camp, Gabriel's leash will be short.
Did we forget that they drafted
1,000%.
Dylan Gabriel
Yeah, that's cool.
first?
Yes.
Cool, yeah.
That's why I think...
And both of them are rookies. So
Yes.
how can... I'm just trying to understand, because I'm just... Maybe you can...
Yes.
How can one person's rookie leash be shorter than another if you were drafted higher than Shedeur Sanders and we don't have pads on yet?
The only way I believe it's possible is this. If Shedeur balls out in OTAs, it's just OTAs. Because Dylan Gabriel is drafted higher, I think Dylan Gabriel is still going to be 3rd on the depth chart come training camp.
Gotcha.
Because he's drafted higher. But draft position right now, it's all perception. Yeah. I think, yes, he'll start 3rd on the depth chart, but if Shedeur proves himself to be better right now, I think he will quickly move to 4th on the depth chart, as opposed to if Gabriel's better right now, it'll be a longer process.
So OTAs, organized team activities, is an opportunity for you to show your talent. That's what it is, right? I had an opportunity because I knew this topic was coming up, so I reached out to my coach, Jimbo, right, my receiver coach when I first got to Green Bay, and I said, what are some of the things you guys look for in OTAs? You know, he said, number 1, can you grasp the playbook?
Yep.
He said, because as we go to install 1 and we finish OTA number 10, all of our offensive install is in, right? All of our signals are in. So if you can handle that and you're showing your ability, he said, now once training camp came, I said, okay, JJ can handle this. I could toss him in there with Brett Favre a little bit with the ones. That's what it's, because he showed the talent and he showed he could grasp the playbook. So that's number 1. Shedeur, show you can grasp this playbook. Once you show you can grasp this playbook and you show your talent and they see your talent's going to be better than probably all 4 of those dudes. which means when training camp comes, if you have a really good OTAs, you earn more reps. I'm not saying you earn a starting job right now in OTAs because that's impossible, but you earn more reps. So now they know, Shedeur understands the playbook. He knows how to get in and out of certain checks. We can toss him in there with Jerry Jeudy and the ones to see what he can do because he showed us in OTAs that he can do this. So he earned more reps. And once you earn more reps coming out of OTAs, once you get into training camp, right, now you show what you can do in pads. Because let's not act like just because the quarterbacks put on pads in training camp, it becomes this full-on team session. Yeah. It's still 7-on-7 for them. Yeah. You cannot get close to them. This is not a receiver or a running back and a linebacker. So it's still right now, what they're doing right now is the same, just with pads on. Yeah. It's the same. So if you're showing your talent now, you're going to earn more reps once training camp comes. And when you earn more reps in training camp, then you can be able to try to win that.
And another thing is he ain't in there with no real gangsters in that room. Gangsters is a really, really good player. We all the same for real. You probably got a little bit more experience, Joe, because you've been playing forever. And then Kenny Pickett, you probably got a little more experience than me because you've been playing. But they ain't far from each other. That's the thing I want y'all to understand that. Like, you spoke.
In what way? Talent?
Talent, production, everything you want to talk about. Last time we seen Kenny Pickett as a starter, he wasn't really that good. Pittsburgh, went to Philadelphia, had a game or two that was really good. But, overall, they can't sell you enough. And then Joe Flacco, last time we seen him play, he was terrible. Right? We thought that he was the answer for Anthony Richardson, which I told you was a bad move. He got in there, get him right out. Get in, get right back out. So, and he's older. Them years that Joe had with the little run he had with Baltimore, that's over with. So, as I'm in this room with these dudes, I remember going I got to go against Brian Westbrook. Imagine if I had to go against, rotational guys that go, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm happy with that. Number two is, I look at Shedeur. Yes, you are right, because you talked about when you first got there with Drew Brees, dog. There's no Drew Brees close in Cleveland. For sure. I'm talking even Cleveland. There's nobody even, okay? So that's knowing that, it ain't a real hard battle for me, for Shedeur. It's not like a regular rookie that's a 5th-round draft pick going in there I got to go against these starters. It's not that look. And then as I look at the Browns also, with last thing with the Dillon part, yeah, he was drafted ahead of Shedeur. Yeah. But if you ask around in Cleveland with the players in that locker room, and some of the coaches are going to be honest, they don't see it like that. And then you think that Shedeur or Dillon, they're probably 3rd string, right?
Yeah, I think they're.
So now let's go to some real. Now we're gonna talk some real football here. 2 3rd-string quarterbacks, you saying, right? Shedeur or Dillon. If I'm the owner,
as of now, yeah.
If I'm an owner, everywhere we talking about a 5th-round draft pick. So y'all saying, if they the same, why would I keep the 3rd-rounder? I can find him anywhere. Nobody talks about Dillon. I'm talking about the business part of it. The 5th rounder I got, the 5th rounder I have, he's talked about everywhere. He's low key a new icon, a young icon type dude. Real talk. And another thing is he's selling all the jerseys. So business wise, if they're gonna be the 3rd string anyway, why would I keep the 3rd rounder when the 5th rounder is popping? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And not only that though,
no, before we go, real quick.
Taking some more.
I'm not, but I'm saying, let's just talk. We're not even talking, take the cleats off, take the helmet off. Now we're talking about the politics of football. Yeah. Right? I was playing for Chip Kelly. There's some problem I'm looking at him now he shouldn't even be. You know what I'm saying? So just think about the Browns. Yeah. If you say they're going to be 3rd stringers anyway, now why the hell would I keep Dylan Brooks or Dylan Gabriel?
He's going to make the roster, though. He's not getting cut.
Whatever it is. I'm just saying, if I had to pick one of them.
Yeah, from an ownership perspective, it makes.
Well, yeah, if you want to sell tickets and sell that, yeah.
Because we ain't winning no Super Bowls, so that's out the way.
Not this year.
You know what I'm saying? Think about that for a second.
That's why I keep telling y'all.
Oh, tell us.
From the business standpoint, also, that these veterans are probably going to be the odd man out. We've all played this game. If you have a young, upcoming player, what do they do with the veterans? Whether you're making a lot of money or you're making a little bit of money. If you're making a lot of money, they we got a young boy behind him, let's probably try to trade him and get rid of him. If he ain't making a lot of money, he's probably cut.
Yeah, you ain't even, come on.
Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to tell y'all with Joe Flacco, he making $3-4 million, and they didn't know they was about to get these 2 young boys.
He's gone.
Now he's there, and if these young boys show these young boys, he's out of, that's just, and that don't mean Joe Flacco's terrible, bad play. That just means that's the nature of the business in the NFL.
There's definitely
they want to stay young.
There's definitely a nature of the business, but it still comes down to on-the-field play. I actually loved your take about earning more reps, and I think that's what he has to do. But eventually, they're gonna have to play, and not only are they playing for this year, but guys, we forget that Cleveland has 2 first-round picks next year, and the quarterback class is loaded. So even though you're a fifth-round pick, you might play. If you don't play well, they're always trying to replace you.
Yeah.
See,
Always.
And
I tried Joe Flacco out there.
I don't get though.
Yeah, you've always
I keep saying everybody talk about that. Like, oh, the next class. I hate people do that because you don't know what them players can be.
I agree with that.
I remember when I was with the Eagles. It was they had a press conference of Matt Barkley, quarterback for USC, and it was like, oh, he's staying in school, and everybody's like, oh, why is he doing it? He could be the number one, right? And then somehow, some way, he had a season, right? Because it was supposed to be a high draft class.
Yeah, got hurt.
And that class wasn't as good as we thought. But anyway, he goes to like the fourth round the next year. I said, oh, okay, well, we might have to steal because they said that this dude was supposed to be so highly this and that, and then he was cool. So I say all that to say, like, I hate when I keep hearing people keep talking about, like, oh, well, this draft class, because what if them dudes are not that? Because we got Manning so high, right? We didn't even really get to see him play yet.
Yeah, but I would say the consensus, Shady, including inside the building, is that next year's class is way more like last year's class than this year's class.
Yeah, that's fair.
This year's class is overall, as of without anyone playing a snap, poor.
But
You know what I mean? And no one knows anything. Like Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. Now he's making $53 million a year.
But it's like you planning for their future, and
They have to. That's what organizations do.
I know, but I just find in concert, you don't ever know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Hey, who else is planning for the future? The Minnesota Timberwolves, because word on the street is Kevin Durant is thinking about joining forces with Ant-Man Edwards. But would KD get Anthony Edwards closer to a championship ring? One answer on this desk will likely surprise you.
Come on, man. You serious?
KD?
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Kevin Durant could be on the move and joining Ant-Man Anthony Edwards in Minnesota. That might be an option. A report says the Timberwolves tried to trade for KD before the deadline, and they're expected to pursue a trade this offseason. Anthony Edwards back-to-back conference finals appearances. However, Kevin Durant last year with the Suns didn't make the playoffs nor the play-in game. Kevin Durant, one of the best players of all time, a top 15 player surely of all time, at least many would suggest. But can Kevin Durant get Anthony Edwards closer to a championship?
No, he cannot. For a couple of reasons.
Oh, you looked at the camera when you said that.
Hey, you guys have been challenging me today. I got to come strong. I just realized that, right? And when we talked about dry snitching on middle names, and then you didn't have any problem just bouncing out there going, so what's your middle name?
I don't think it's dry. It's just speaking mine. So.
Okay, all right. No, for a couple of reasons. Number one, because you're not getting him for free. You're not just adding him to the equation, right? You'd have to give up multiple players, whether it's Rudy Gobert or Julius Randle and Mike Conley and Jaden McDaniels, or you'd have to give up at least 2, if not 3 players from the current rotation. So now KD has to replace the production of those guys. What's that?
And picks.
So
I'm saying you can use some of them picks though.
They don't have a whole lot of picks to work with, right? And because of where they are with the salary cap, they have to match KD's number of $52 million, I believe it is, exactly under these terms, right? But the other part is probably the most important part, which is we saw the Phoenix Suns acquire him for a ton of draft picks, but also Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, right? And the year before that KD got there with Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder, they went to the second round of the playoffs. And then the following year in February, they traded for KD, and they went to the second round of the playoffs. And they never went any higher than that. The next year, they got knocked out by the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round. They got swept. We all know what happened this year. They didn't even make the playoffs. So the idea that KD at this point in his career, while he's still putting up amazing numbers and he's still an impactful player, in terms of being the difference maker for a team, taking them to a level in the playoffs that they are previously not at, I don't look at his recent history now and find reason to believe that that would be the case.
Can I ask you a question really quick?
Absolutely, Matthias.
How do we help our star then? Who do we get to help our star? Because we got to get somebody. You can't watch this series and say we can't go get nobody. And you're going to have to trade somebody. So, like, who do we get or how can we help our star?
It's why I believe it's on Anthony Edwards to become the star that he can become. I don't believe that talent-wise they're that far apart in terms of the supporting cast. If Anthony Edwards becomes a 3-level scorer, becomes focused on defense the way he is at times consistently, and he is able to seize the moment. Like we talked about it throughout the playoffs, right? Yeah. There are certain times within games, like at the end of the game, you look at the numbers and you say they're not that bad for Anthony Edwards. But when he was delivering, like that's what was missing. And I just think look, he's 23 years old. There's no reason to believe that he can't get to that. But right now, I just don't think he understands fully the job and the responsibility that comes with being the best player on a championship team.
Slick's right. KD don't get you no closer. KD don't get you no closer to a championship. And it's really just an objective fact. Number one, teams that have Kevin Durant, they get worse over time. They don't necessarily get better over time. When I think about the Phoenix Suns, first year with the Phoenix Suns, you go to the playoffs, you lose to Denver. The second year with the Phoenix Suns, you get swept in the first round. Then the next year with the Phoenix Suns, you don't even make the play-in game. You think about Kevin Durant's tenure with the Nets. The first year with the Nets, you lose in the semis to the Bucks. The second year with the Nets, you get swept, but at least you get swept by a Celtics team that went on to the NBA Finals. The third year with the Nets, you get swept by a mediocre, moderate Philadelphia 76ers teams. Teams with Kevin Durant, over the course of time, they get worse. They don't necessarily get better. But the dilemma if Anthony Edwards joins forces with Kevin Durant is that he becomes Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant joined the Golden State Warriors after being up 3-1, losing that 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals to the Golden State Warriors. Ant-Man, you've been to the conference finals 2 years in a row. What does Kevin Durant most often get criticized for? For quitting on the Thunder because he couldn't get there and joining a better team with better stars. Ant-Man, you've gone twice to the conference finals. Don't join with Kevin Durant and become Kevin Durant because then you're just joining forces with somebody because you can't get it done in theory by yourself. The basketball narrative. Just get better. Get it done. Nikola Jokic, he got better. He made those around him better. He got it done. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he got better. He made those around him better. He got it done. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his team, it got better. They got those around him better, and they got it done. You're literally seeing year after year after year after year, players get better, get those around them better, and they get it done. They don't necessarily have to join forces with another superstar. If Ant-Man joins KD, he just becomes KD. Instead, stay put, get better, help those around you get better, and get it done.
We talking about Kevin Durant?
Absolutely.
Durant. You know who we talking? Kevin Durant. You know his name, right?
AD.
You know his name?
Yes, sir.
Put some respect on Kevin Durant's name. Yes, Ant-Man should want to join with KD because if he do, they will get to that finals.
That's what you said about the Suns, Shady.
Okay, well, no.
And about the Nets, Shady.
Yeah, because Bradley Beal wasn't who I thought he was. And that Nets team, James Harden.
Booker,
James Harden, he won did Booker look like the same to you this year? No. See, the problem is his name is Kevin Durant, so we won't make this whole big thing around his name, right? But since his Achilles, the last 5 years, since his Achilles injuries, he's been averaging like 27, almost 28 points a game. Mm-hmm. I only can think of only two people in the last 5 years to do that, Giannis and Luka. Mm-hmm. You know how I feel about them dudes. The same way you feel about them. So it's like the name of Kevin Durant, we make a big deal about everything. But if you just take the player, his skill set, and you add him to the Wolves, I watched the Wolves this year, especially in this last series, the Western Conference, and I watched the game plan for OKC. Let's just take out Ant-Man.
Yes.
And make somebody else score. Okay, cool. Let's let Julius Randle score. He couldn't do it at all. This is what I will tell you. They're going to have to figure out how the hell can we stop Ant-Man and Kevin Durant. Now it's a whole nother issue. Because we ain't talking about no Julius Randle. We ain't talking about nobody like that. We talking about Kevin Durant, okay? And to address your last take.
Please, address it.
Address it. And I'm going to say it again. When Kevin Durant is being talked about, it's a different level of the way they come at him. Because you're talking about, why join other superstar? LeBron James started this whole thing. And we'll never talk about it no more, right? And I'm okay with it because now the league has changed. Yeah. Now guys want, because there was a time where Kawhi Leonard could have had SGA. Mm-hmm. Nah. I want a superstar that's known. Give me Paul George. And if you don't get him, I'm leaving. Okay, we're going to do what the superstar wants. Let's put them all together. I can sit here and name other AD and LeBron. People forget LeBron did bring a championship to LA. He ain't do it by himself. He got a young Anthony Davis. Yo, look, bro, tell them over there, the Pelicans, you ain't playing no more. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when it's when it's Kevin Durant, we're not gonna talk like that. We're gonna say, oh, you know, you quit on your team and then you lost your team and you went to go. Yeah. Come on, so everybody's doing this. Yeah. Real quick, Giannis, you love Giannis. Y'all, that's your people, right? That's your people. He about to leave though.
We'll believe it when we see it, and then we'll address it.
Okay. Even if he don't leave, why every time we talk KD though, we always want to bring up the bad tenders?
Yeah.
Because Slick did just say he changed around the whole OKC Thunder organization, right? Took them to the finals. I don't believe the Warriors win those two without KD.
We don't.
That's why he has the MVP.
I agree with
that. Those two organizations got better with KD because he changed around the OKC and he took the Warriors to two finals and he got
73-win Warriors team.
Championships.
73-win Warriors team.
Championships though.
That lost.
73-win team.
Do they win those championships without KD?
I believe they win two. I believe they win 2 in 3 years. I still believe they win 2. I don't know if it's the 18-17 I believe they beat a Cavs team that does not have Kyrie.
But what you do know is that they lost, correct?
They lost the 73-win team.
All right, okay.
And they won championships with KD.
And they won 2 championships without him.
Two organizations got better with Kevin Durant. Listen, it's hard for me. Did we all watch this series?
Yeah.
The Thunder versus the OKC. I mean, the Wolves versus OKC. We watched that.
I watched it.
Did you see the wide open shots from Alexander and those boys that they missed? Did we see that with our own 2 eyes?
I seen it,
So as much as we want to sit here and say,
I can't forget it.
I mean, Anthony Edwards, do this, do that. Them boys didn't show up. Your second best player, your all-star player, did not show up. Man, listen. Hey, I call all them boys up to the office right now. Y'all see what we trying to do. All right, so it's probably going to be either you two or you three. But y'all out of here for KD because KD is going to help your best player be better than Anthony Edwards.
If somebody, James, lies to you, if somebody lies to you and you believe them, and then they lied to you the exact same lie again. If you believe them again, you're the fool.
You lie,
because
not me.
Here's the thing. The Phoenix Suns were closer to a championship than the Minnesota Timberwolves were. Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker. If we get Devin Booker with Anthony Edwards, if we get Devin Booker with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker's dropped 70 points in a game before. He's an all-star. He's a first-team All-NBA player. If we just get Devin Booker with Kevin Durant, we'll be unstoppable. But the dilemma is this. You have to hemorrhage your roster to do it. So you send Mikal Bridges over to the Knicks. You send Cam Johnson over to the Brooklyn Nets.
Well, actually, the Bridges.
Oh, they both go to the Nets, and then by means, he ends up going to the Knicks. Yep. You have to hemorrhage your roster in order to bring in Kevin Durant. Yo, it's the same lie. The Phoenix Suns were close to a chip, a 60-win team. They were the best team in basketball for 3 consecutive years if you add up the records cumulatively. And we said all we needed was Kevin Durant. Ooh, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker's going to be unstoppable. Yeah. Y'all saw what happened. In order to acquire Kevin Durant, you're going to have to hemorrhage the roster. So then the question is, does Naz Reid go? Then the question is, if Randall goes, then the question is, does Gobert go? Then the question is, does McDaniels go? And when you hemorrhage the roster, like the Phoenix Suns had to hemorrhage the roster, there are no solutions in life. There are just trade-offs, and it's not a good trade-off.
So, Mr. GM, really quick, what do you do to get Anthony Edwards closer? This team ain't winning it.
Here's where I agree with Rick Bucher. I think you add a veteran that's won a championship, think a KCP. Think of Alex Caruso, not a KCP right now. No. Pause, James. Hold on. Hear me before you react. I'm saying a 2021 KCP, the KCP that helped get the Lakers over the edge. I'm saying an Alex Caruso, somebody helps get them over there. Not a 31-year-old Alex Caruso, right? I'm saying like that type.
So that ain't enough, though.
Who is that right now? I'm trying to think of who that is.
Here's why I can't suggest it's not enough, 2-5. To me, what happened with the Timberwolves, if Ant-Man gets better, right? Ant-Man gets better, that's a much more competitive series. The Thunder are legit. You just said the Thunder are about to be a dynasty. I don't disagree with you. It's going to be hard to beat the Thunder regardless. I just don't know that you're going to beat the Thunder by adding an aging Kevin Durant and hemorrhaging the youth and the depth of your roster. I just don't think that's the way to beat a Thunder team that already beat you because of depth. But you want to lose your depth.
But you look at the Thunder, they got 2 All-NBA type players on their team, do they not?
They do.
Okay, so like you need that. Listen, and maybe, I don't know, because I was maybe a really good player, but I'm for, you need superstars in your squad.
You got rid of Cat, though, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had an all-NBA caliber player in Cat, and you had an all-NBA caliber player in Ant.
Come on, man. Cat's good, but you need somebody different. We just watched Cat with the Knicks, right?
He was good.
Scoring. Everything you talk about is scoring.
Okay, so then you bring in Randall, and Randall's not good enough. So now you want to bring in Kevin Durant.
I don't look at them guys in the same level as look at Kevin Durant. I don't look at Cat, and I don't look at Randall as like Kevin Durant.
I agree.
All right, so let's treat it as such. Bring in somebody like a Kevin Durant, because now when you watch OKC play, you obviously got SGA. We worry about that. But then Jay Will gets busy. When he go to the bench, he gets busy.
But here's my thing.
So okay, hold on. Let's look at, because like I like to show you like the patterns. You know what I mean? Because you want to create your own pattern and you can't, because history is already written, dog. OKC this year, you see what they got going on with the film they working with Jay Will and SGA.
But Jay Will is
Boston. You said you want he's an all NBA player.
All-star caliber player.
Okay.
But Jay Will is not Kevin Durant. What I'm suggesting to you is this. The route to championships as of late is not two megastars. The Pacers are not there with two megastars.
And they're not going to win.
The Thunder aren't even there with two megastars. J-Dub is a good player.
No. He's an all-NBA player. It's different. It's a difference to me. It's a difference. You make all-NBA. That matters. So my thing is, you look at last year with the Boston Celtics. JT and JB, those are all NBA players. You can see the difference. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is when you really doing this thing, you trying to win championships, because we're not talking about just having a good record.
Of course.
We're talking about a championship. So when the Suns said we're going to get Kevin Durant and we're going to have Booker and we're going to have Bradley Beal, I don't know how you forgot about him, but he was supposed to be part of that thing too. He didn't hold it into his bargain. But they don't blame him. So it's all three of them. They're not going to blame him. They're going to blame Kevin Durant. Let's go to because you brought the Nets up. You brought the Nets up right before you go. Nets up, cool. When the Nets was rolling, you had Kyrie Irving, you had Kevin Durant, you had James Harden. If you really watch how that thing was going on, out of all them dudes, Kevin Durant was really giving that service out. Crazy work every time. Does he not?
Of course. Yeah.
But guess what? You're not going to say that. You're going to blame Kevin Durant because James was short, and sometimes Kyrie Irving, he had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But Kevin Durant's name is so big, and he's such a great player that we dismiss Bradley Beal. We dismiss
Devin Booker.
We dismiss James Harden. We dismiss Kyrie Irving. You see what I'm saying, though? When it's Kevin Durant, it's a whole nother conversation, and I hate that because it's not his fault he's that great.
But a big part of that is because, going back to the original point, is what you have to give up for KD. Because, yes, while these teams that have won championships have stars, they also, the common denominator has been they have depth and versatility. That's what OKC has. Boston wasn't a championship team until they added Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. Mm-hmm. And the problem here with KD going to Minnesota is that you're going to give away some of that depth and versatility. The difference when he went to Golden State was there was a huge surplus of money in the cap, so they didn't really have to give anything else up. They gave up Harrison Barnes, right? They were able to add him to a team that was already formed and was ready to go win championships. Was he the difference maker? There's no question in my mind. I agree. I think he filled a lot of holes because you did lose like an Andrew Bogut. You did lose Harrison Barnes. Like they lost a number of key pieces. But in this case, you're asking to add him to a team that can't afford to lose multiple pieces. And the other part is, and I just want to make this clear because people think that I'm picking on Anthony Edwards when I say that it's really on him to improve. I would say the same thing about Giannis Antetokounmpo at this point. Like, if the Milwaukee Bucks or wherever he goes, like, Giannis has to develop a mid-range game. He doesn't really score from that range. He needs to be a better playmaker, right? And he needs to be able to make free throws consistently. Like, I put the responsibility first and foremost on the star player. When I see a talent that has extraordinary talent, like an Anthony Edwards, and I see holes in his game, I'm not going to immediately go, you know what, we need to piece around him when he's 23 years old and has the opportunity to evolve his game. And I just, look, if you put SGA on this Minnesota team, then I think that they're going to the finals. And that's the difference for me.
Oh, man. Wow. Hey, wait, you changed SGA and Ant?
SGA and Ant, and I'm saying that the Minnesota, certainly they're not getting gentlemanly swept. Yeah. It's much more of a series.
They're not going to the finals.
We can go back and forth as to whether they actually get there or not, but it's a different series.
So what happens when he scores his 30 points, then what? Because what happens when SGA scores his 30 points, right?
Yeah.
And his 5 assists.
Yep.
Then what happens? Because I've watched him, playing against OKC is like, yo, where's the help at? Listen, SGA is a great player, but you need help. I don't know nobody just.
Sure you do.
Name me somebody that's win championships with no help. Even at Steph Curry in 2022, I was surprised how well Wiggins played. Oh, wow, this dude's scoring. You need help. I watched Julius Randle do nothing. Run around with freaking
a lot of them did nothing.
Julius Randle
Boots and-
played the biggest part in getting them
There.
to the conference finals.
Once they
correct.
got there.
When we got there, though, what he looked like.
Well, okay, that's where
It was so bad for him that, you know what? You being such a star player, they had to sit him on the bench. Did y'all forget this?
That in fourth quarter.
So y'all telling me that if SGA was there, that'd matter. When your second best player that you're counting on, they had him on the bench because he couldn't perform.
If SGA is operating from the places that he can on the floor, that changes the whole dynamic of how the defense plays.
What does Brunson need then? Because both Brunson and Anthony Edwards is really both ball dominant. So what does Brunson need? Because I feel like those are the same teams. The New York Knicks with a ball dominant dude and Anthony Edwards and Minnesota, they're both the same. So what does he need?
Brunson needs a playmaking big. He needs a two-way big or a playmaker.
So that's not Cat?
What's that?
That's not Cat?
No. Cat's not getting guys.
So he need
involved.
another scorer, like a Kevin Durant type dude?
New York? No,
I'm
I think
saying,
I think Jalen can be that guy, but you're asking Jalen to be so ball dominant that he's both your go-to scorer. Who's making plays for them?
That's what I feel like that's the same thing with Minnesota. You're just making it so hard on your star.
But I think Anthony Edwards.
I got to take it to break. Hey, when we return, the Giants struggled last season, but now they have their distributor, quarterback Russell Wilson. What would success look like for him in year one? Okay, Scatterboo.
All of fame.
I'll see ya.
All of fame.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Hey, Russell Wilson, the man on your screen, has had an illustrious but very interesting NFL career. Won a couple Super Bowls, won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, and then lost the next year in Seattle. Well, now he's in New York, and he's trying to turn that team around. Success is what Russ is looking for. So, Chase, what does success look for a man who was last year on the Steelers, the year before with the Broncos, 2 years before that with the Seahawks, and now he's in New York? Oddly enough, he's kind of been a journeyman as of late. What success look for Russ now?
Starting the entire season. Last 2 years he's played Denver and the Pittsburgh Steelers, he hasn't done it. Whether it be for injuries, whether it be for contract services, whether it be for all that. If he starts the whole season, first of all, it's a win for Russ. Second of all, what it means is that the Giants are competitive. So, and you had a take on it, just be in the running, 6-6, 6-7, 7-6, to make a run at this thing down the stretch, because they're plus 2,500 odds in Vegas to win their division, right? You don't got to win the division to get the playoffs. I know that. I'm just saying, this roster is good. It's not great. Now, how will they handle the quarterback situation? I don't know. But when on the field comes, it means not turning the football over. It means not taking a lot of sacks. He's running the offense effectively. And one thing, as anyone gets older, they lose that lack of escape as a quarterback, right? Like, his whole game, for lack of better words, is he looks at his first read. He's really good at scrambling. He throws an amazing deep ball down the field, probably one of the best in the game, but he gets out of the pocket a lot. As you get older and as you age, that's going to go downhill a little bit. How does he handle that situation? You know, the offensive skill players are on the Giants, like Malik Neighbors, I think is great. Tracy, good running back. It's that offensive line I'm a little worried about. And the odds of this happening, though, in my opinion, of him playing the whole season, it's low. Because since 2020, the average first-round quarterback has started in week 3, and the Giants drafted Jackson Dart. They went up into the first round to get him. So I think a successful season for Russ is if you start the whole season because you have the Giants competitive.
It's playoffs. It's playoffs for Russ. And that's a successful season. I view Russell Wilson as a really good quarterback, man. I think Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, especially in the gotta-have-it moments. Russell Wilson always delivers. And then when you just look at Russell Wilson and you look at Russell Wilson's career, Russell Wilson don't have just bad seasons. He's not just going to come out here and play bad football and throw a bunch of interceptions. Russ is going to play good football. I guess the 1 year out of his career that you could say was bad was his first year with Nathaniel Hackett. Okay, cool. But other than that, Russell Wilson plays really good football. He does not step on the football field and just really give you the opportunity to bench him. He doesn't play football like that in his career. Nope. Russ is a smart quarterback. He makes the right plays. And in gotta-have-it moment, the main reason we called him Danger Russ, because in gotta-have-it moments, he delivers, man. That's why he's been to 2 Super Bowls. For this team, when I look at Brian Daboll, which I felt like a team that he had with Daniel Jones really was not as good as this team that he has right now. When you talk about from top to bottom, defense, the pass rushers and all that he's going to have, offensively with Malik Neighbors, you got some speed out there with Wyatt and those guys. They have a really good team that they can put out there on the football field if the quarterback plays at a high level. If Daniel Jones can win you 9 games and take you to the playoffs, I am saying Russell Wilson is good for 1 or 2 more to get you to 10 or 11. Hopefully that'll be good enough to get you to the playoffs, but I'm a believer in Russell Wilson.
Go ahead, Shady.
No, we got a lot of time.
Yeah, I just wonder, why are you so high on the Giants? Like, you just said they're a really good team.
Well, when I say really good team, I think they're going to play some really good football. Really good team, obviously, with a bunch of star power like the Eagles. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is when you look at the defensive side of the ball, they are going to come get the quarterback. Mm-hmm. That is what's going to happen. They are going to be a really good defense, especially up front. Then you have the pieces on the offensive side of the ball. You got a bona fide number 1 wide receiver in Malik Neighbors.
Yes, you do.
You have 2 really good number 2 wide receivers that can run and stretch the field. You have a really good running back in Tracy Jr. that can catch and run. The equalizer in this, if you can get your quarterback to play at a high level, you have a chance in these football games. And throughout Russell Wilson's career, wherever he's been, he's played good football.
And that's why I have the success of the Giants through Russell Wilson. Because over his years, he's been a solid quarterback. Like, I guess it's funny to talk about, the Denver this and Denver that, but that team was real bad. Defense was giving up, 70 points?
70 burger.
Think about that, though. It's the NFL, the best of the best. All these smart coaches get all this money, and you let a team put 70 points on you, right? So they weren't good there. But his last year with the Broncos, he did well. He did beat Mahomes, and he did beat Josh Allen on the road. Like, he did do these things. I look at the Pittsburgh. He didn't start the year out because of injury, but when he played 11 games, he threw, 2,500 yards, something like that? 17 touchdowns, 5 picks. That's pretty good. For only starting 11 games. And I think if you look at the Giants roster, so the thing is, like, you don't expect much because of how bad they've been, right? But they have a really, really good coach. Brian Daboll is one of the best coaches in football. Wasn't like a surprise when he won Rookie or Coach of the Year because he is that good in his rookie season. And I think of the offense. Malik Neighbors is a bona fide number 1. He's a top-tier receiver. Then you add some of the other guys that got some speed over there, then the running backs and et cetera. Then the best part about the team is the defense. You're not about to be having 30 points on these Giants. No, you're not going to have that. And I think once you show that and you let Russ play the way he normally plays, they're going to be solid. So success for them is going to the playoffs with Russ and going through his success through him.
Playoffs.
I can't agree with that because to me it's such a high bar. If for success for Russell Wilson, to me, start another year in the National Football League. Meaning, play so well in this year that you get another year next year.
Yeah.
That's what success looks like for me.
But you don't think if he plays the way you saying he going to play, like they ain't going to win games and have a chance to be in the playoffs?
I'd be so happy, James, if they get to 9-8. Like, I'd be happy. That'd tie Daboll's high wins in a season. 9-8, that's probably, I think, maybe a 7 or 6 win improvement from last year. Like, that's a solid, successful season. If Russ goes 10-7, but they miss the playoffs because, one, the division is so crowded. Eagles are probably going to win 13, 14 games. Commanders are probably going to win 11 games or so. Cowboys are probably going to win, 8 to 10 games. Like, if they don't go to the playoffs, given the fact that Packers, Vikings, Lions, good. Eagles, Commanders, good. Rams, good. Now, if the Niners end up being good, or the Bears end up being good, or the Cowboys end up being good.
So I was writing them down, right? So all the things you just said, so the last few was, you said the Niners. We don't know what they're going to be like.
Agreed.
You paid this quarterback all this money that nobody thinks that he deserves it, so we're going to find that out.
Agreed.
Who else you said?
The Lions, the Bears.
Okay, the Bears.
We don't know what they're going to be.
All right, now behave yourself a little bit. Who else
No
you
doubt.
got? See what I'm saying? Because I had the Rams,
Bubble.
Eagles, Commanders, Lions.
So say those win the
Atlanta or
division.
Bucks, because that division is so bad. But somebody has to get out of there.
That's a good way to put it. That's a
Okay.
good way to put it. Okay.
Okay.
So say the Lions win the division. I know James don't want to argue.
No,
It
you
could be
good,
the
you good.
Packers.
I ain't gonna argue.
Say the Lions win the division. Say the Eagles win the division.
Okay.
Say the Rams win the division. Say the Bucks win the division because
Okay.
they always do. Now you got 3 spots.
Right. Packers, maybe.
Okay. So you got to put Packers.
Packers are in, I think.
Let's put the Vikings because they won 13.
But so, see, that's another one.
Quarterback.
I don't know what they're going to look like. Rookie
Vikings are
quarterback?
making the playoffs.
Let's
They have one of the best
but
teams.
to Shady's point,
Can't
let's
guarantee that.
to Shady's point, let's put the names out there.
You don't know.
Can't guarantee
Vikings.
anything, James
Can't-
Jones.
can't,
You
but
got
I'm
the
just saying.
Cowboys. We're just putting names out there. I'm not saying they're going to be in
I
it.
don't know what they're going to look like either.
Now we got the 49ers.
49ers.
Let's put the
what they gonna
Bears.
be like that. Don't
Now
know what
let's
they
put
gonna
the
be like
Giants
that.
in there.
Sounds like 2 spots are wide open.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah, but bro,
I'm not sure.
Here's my thing.
Here's my quick thought is
Yeah.
the Giants won 3 games last year. The Vikings won 13 games last year. So there's a 10-game delta.
Yeah.
14
Giants won
games
14,
last year.
yeah,
Vikings won 14, Giants won 3. Do y'all think that the Vikings and the Giants are going to close an 11-game gap?
I
in
think,
one season?
I think the Bears got better. I think the Vikings have a young rookie quarterback who we don't know if he's going to be weak,
Sure.
good,
James, I
great.
said 11 games. There's an
James,
11-game
where are
gap.
you getting-
But
No,
these
no,
are
hold on,
different
hold on.
teams, though.
Where are you getting the 10 wins? They have the hardest schedule in all of football. We don't have time to do that. You're saying 10. There's just no way.
Okay, so really-
look at their schedule. We don't have
finish.
time to show the schedule. Maybe we
No,
do.
no, you're good. Let's forget the schedule.
You know what I mean? They have the toughest schedule. There it is.
Yeah.
They have the toughest schedule in all of football.
That's all good. And you know what I would?
Where are they getting the
You know
wins?
what I would push back? You know what I would push back on that is when Brian Daboll won Coach of the Year, the Giants were a garbage team with Daniel Jones at quarterback. There's nobody up here at this desk would have came in here and said they gonna win 9 games and go to the playoffs. There ain't nobody. We all would have been up here saying where's the 9 wins gonna come from? Well, they came from Brian Daboll and Daniel Jones. They did. I'm sitting up here saying I don't know where they coming from, Chase. They coming from Brian Daboll and Russell Wilson.
gonna be 1-6
That's what I'm gonna
through the
tell you.
first 7
You can say whatever
weeks.
you want. I don't think
know
that's
that.
gonna be happening.
I don't know that.
I think Russell Wilson and Brian Daboll and this defense is going to be a good football team. And what does that mean?
But if they miss
playoffs.
but if they miss it, that's a failure. That's hard for me
No,
to
because
say.
I don't think they're a Super Bowl caliber team.
If they miss the playoffs,
not
that's a
keeping their
failure.
jobs.
No.
But you said if he makes it, it's a success.
Yeah.
So if he misses it, what is it?
If he misses, it's just not a good year for them. It ain't a failure because I'm
Depends on how
going
it
off of
works.
what I think they're going to be. You going off what you think they're going to be. You think they're going to be sorry. I don't think they're going to be sorry.
Hey, when he returned, the Pacers,
That's what y'all think.
they succeeded this season because they're already in the NBA
I know what
Finals.
y'all getting at.
But are the days of dynasties over now that we haven't had back-to-back champions in a matter of years? Are the dynasties over in the NBA? That's next. They love Pacers or the Thunder will be the league's 7th straight different champion. Y'all realize we've had a different NBA champion for 7 consecutive years. That's pretty unheralded in an era where you had the Golden State Warriors winning back-to-back. You had LeBron James always there in an era where you had the Lakers back in the late 2010s winning back-to-back. The Lakers three-peating. It's just a very interesting dichotomy, you could suggest, compared to what we usually had of teams winning back-to-back. Slick, is it fair to say that dynasties are over in the NBA?
Nope, it's not. And the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to make the statement for me because if you're looking at them, obviously we're talking about them winning this year's title. That still remains to be seen, but they are going to be in contention for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
The most amazing thing is that right now their salary cap, their player payroll, is 26th in the league this season and is projected to be 26th out of 30 teams next year as well. They have everybody locked up of any importance for the next 2 years, and the oldest heads on the team are Alex Caruso and Kendrick Williams at 31 years old.
And they bench players.
What's that?
I said, and they bench players.
And they're bench players. And then I'm not going to even go into their draft stock. But I will say the importance is, one, that they win it this year.
Yeah.
And that they don't waste any trips because
That is true.
we look at the Boston Celtics, and I thought this when they won their championship, which was everybody was like, okay, well, they're the next dynasty, right? That was the expectation. I was like, but they already went there, and they already were working off of multiple conference finals appearances. And the problem is the way the salary cap is structured now, you're going to have to pay guys. You have to be able to take advantage when you're cheap, like the Oklahoma City Thunder are right now, because they got to get busy over the next 2 years, because 2 years from now, everything changes. Now you got to pay Chet Holmgren. Now you got to pay Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now you got to pay Jalen Williams. So once you get to that place, you're in a different category.
I'm going to say, Slick, that the dynasties are over in the NBA for this reason. Number one, I think the concept of a dynasty in the modern NBA is overrated. Who are our dynasties? The Golden State Warriors, you could suggest in the Kevin Durant era, dynasty. Who are our dynasties? The Miami Heat, but they only won 2, but they did go to 4 consecutive. So, who are our dynasties? I think the concept of dynasty is overrated. But the real reason I think the dynasties no longer exist is because there's too much parity in the NBA, in large part because now we are really excavating the foreign player. Like, we're really excavating the market of basketball all over the globe. And so parity is equal in the NBA. The reason dynasties haven't existed is because Nikola Jokic stayed in Denver and finally brought Denver a chip. So that ruined any dynasty that was going to exist. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he stayed in Milwaukee. He brought them a chip. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he didn't stay there, but once he got to OKC, he has stayed there and he's brought them a chip. Foreign-born players are really undermining dynasties because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to bring OKC its first championship in the history of that city. Then Miami, Giannis brought Milwaukee their first championship in 50 years. Nikola Jokic brought Denver their first championship in ever. So because of these foreign-born players just staying put, you don't have dynasties. Dynasty was created most recently because Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, they joined forces. That's how a dynasty became. But so long as foreign-born players are kind of bucking the trend and staying put, I don't think dynasties can exist because some foreign-born player is going to bring one championship to their organization in one place and undermine the dynasty. That's just what I've been seeing over the last 5, 6.
Yeah, that's pretty good take. I'm going to go in the other direction, though. I'm going to say yes. I think that this Thunder's team, they can be a dynasty. And you know what? I was trying to compare them to the 2014 Warriors. They're very similar, man. And so 2014, 2015, that season, the Warriors, they were 67 and 15. You look at OKC, they 68 and 14. I look at the offense rank-wise. The Warriors back then was ranked second. OKC, they ranked third. Defense. Everybody loves to talk about the offense. But the Warriors was ranked number 1 back then, right? And OKC, where do they rank? They rank 1. And then the biggest part is I look at even like the playoffs, right? 16 wins, 5 losses for the Warriors. You look at OKC, 12 wins, 4 losses. But the biggest one is the age. They average about 26.5 years per age on that team, the Warriors. If you look at OKC, they 24 years old. That's what they average. So all that means is this is how it starts, right? Well, I should say this is how it starts. But now, because Jay Will could potentially be that kind of that Klay Thompson, right? Maybe he's scoring a different way, but he still brings the energy on offense and defense. And then Shaq can be that great Draymond Green. Maybe not the same way they play, but the impact, protecting that rim, being able to space the floor, shoot the 3 ball. Like, all them things work together. And I think when they are the most dangerous is when all 3 of them guys will play at the same level. And do you add in the role players? I got to say, this is how you start the dynasty.
Yeah, no, I think the dynasties are in full effect. And I think the main way you get to these dynasties is you have to hit on your draft picks. Yeah. A lot of these dynasties come out of the blue. The Warriors came out of the blue because they hit on Steph Curry. They hit on Klay Thompson. They hit on Draymond Green. The Spurs hit on Tim Duncan. They hit on Tony Parker. You can go down the line. You're watching the OKC Thunder right now hit on their draft picks. That's why the cap's so low. They hit on their draft picks. So if you are a team that can hit on your draft picks, that is how you start a dynasty. The Eagles is winning these because they hitting on these draft picks, not all the free agents they bring in and all that ball. They are hitting on the people that they bring in the building with the draft picks. And that's how you really build a dynasty. And I think it's going to be more teams like the OKC Thunder who hit on their draft picks and they build a dynasty. You think about the Boston Celtics. They drafted them 2 dudes.
Yeah, that's facts. That's very well said. Hey, when we return, the Detroit Lions are trying to not become a dynasty. They're just trying to get better. But I would suggest they've already peaked under Jared Goff. They lost all-pro center, one of the best in football yesterday, to a surprise retirement at age 29 years old. So have the Lions peaked with Goff? That's next.
You had me right there till the end.
Hey, Jared Goff helped lead the Lions to 15 wins last season. 15. I believe that was the most in franchise history. That's a lot. But they lost in the playoffs, and former offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, he's now gone. Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, he's also now gone. Four-time Pro Bowl All-Pro center Frank Ragnow announced his surprise retirement yesterday. James, is it fair to say the Lions with Jared Goff have peaked already?
No. I think the Detroit Lions are right where they need to be. You just won 15 games. I think Jared Goff is a really good quarterback. My man, only 30 years old. In quarterback years, that's still really, really young. And they have a lot of all-pro players around you. You got a two-headed monster at running back. And I know people want to say the play caller, but it's easy to call plays when you got all-pro after all-pro after all-pro after all-pro on your offense. It is very, very easy. You got Jahmyr Gibbs about to come into his own. You obviously got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got Jamison Williams. I think the sky is still the limit for this team. I do not think they peak too soon. I would not be surprised if they're the team that's in the NFC Championship and have an opportunity to go compete for a championship at all.
You know, I answered this question before yesterday because I got a head start on it, and then their all-pro center
That's a blow.
retires. And that's a blow to one of the best offensive lines. I think there's further to go. So, no, I don't think they've peaked yet with Jared Goff, but they've lost two of their three interior offensive linemen, Kevin Zeitler and now Frank Ragnow, and they're one Graham Glasgow injury away from having the youngest guard-center-guard combo in the league. So your interior three could possibly be the youngest. Now, I know there's a new play caller, right? You lose both your coordinators. They got to play perfect football. And that's one of the things that they really put their mind behind was their offensive line play. And so when you lose it, it's going to be a lot more difficult. I do think there's a chance to do it. But, I mean, that would mean, when we're saying this question, Acho, that means it's Super Bowl because they've been to a conference championship game.
2-5, what you think? Lions peaked with Goff?
No, I think they're still solid. I just like one thing that James has talked about, man, look at all that talent around him. Like, you can always make it Jared Goff because he's the quarterback, but he's surrounded by a lot of talent. Tight ends, all pro, he's like that. Running backs, come on, the receivers. You got speed, you got possessions, you got everything you need over there. And I mean, if I told you that, okay, the Lions would be the NFC Championship game this year, you could believe that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Without a doubt.
Nah, they got a really good team. They're good hands.
Hey, speaking of being in a championship game, the Pacers are there, but they're not really there. What would it take for the Pacers to pull off the upset? I suggest they're not really there because they are plus 700 to win according to Vegas, a.k.a. it's not going to happen, but somebody here has the blueprint for how it can happen. That's next, the facility.
Teach me something. Teach me something.
The Pacers, they are here. They are at the NBA Finals. But the Pacers, as you can look, they got no real chance, at least not according to Vegas, to get it done. Bring us on camera, Colvin. We don't have very much time. Rick Bucher, joined by you because you suggest that the Pacers can pull off an upset, but how can they do it?
I think I said an upset.
It's not an upset?
I said they could make it a series.
If they were to pull off an upset,
Yes.
right, how can they do it?
Two things. Number one, utilize what they've been able to do up till now, which is shoot the three ball and defend the three ball. That has been the great difference maker for them throughout these series. It was with the Cavs. It was with the New York Knicks. 7 out of their 8 wins, they shot the three ball better. And even in the one loss or the one game where they didn't shoot it better, they actually made more threes than New York did. They also got the triple-double with no turnovers.
So the three ball is of the utmost importance.
Yes.
Can I submit something for you to consider?
Sure.
Is there a world in which the Pacers' second best player can be so much better than the Thunder's second best player, Pascal Siakam, can be so much better than J-Dub that could tilt the scales? Because SGA is going to be SGA. But J-Dub this playoffs, he's been up, he's been down, he's been up, he's been down.
Yep.
If Pascal can average 28-6, if he can average 25-5, can he be so much better than J-Dub? It's J-Dub's first time on the stage. Remember, Pascal won a chip in 2019 with the Raptors.
Yeah.
Is he good enough to tip the scale?
It's certainly an interesting thought because so far in these playoffs, Pascal Siakam has also been relatively up and down.
Correct.
And when he has been up, it has been a complete game changer. But I still think it's more the collective here. And the second part, along with dominating from the three-point arc, is don't turn the ball over.
Got it.
No team in the postseason has feasted on turnovers and scored off of turnovers the way that OKC is. Number one by far. They've averaged 24 points a game in their wins.
Got it.
when they score off of turnovers.
Understood. Incredibly well said. Pacers, y'all got a tall task, but there is a world in which you can get it done.
Yes,
Turnovers,
there is.
three-point line, the two T's. Hey, when we return, it is time for a Blitz meeting. Who has the best duo in the NBA Finals? Is it the Pacers or the Thunder? So many questions. Why are we showing Mike Tomlin? I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure we'll ask a football question or something. That's next to Facility. Hey, let's get to a Blitz meeting. Travis Hunter has been splitting time on offense and defense. The Jags defensive backs coach is actually looking for Hunter to get more time on defense. Shady, Travis Hunter's ceiling, higher on offense or defense?
That's how good he is. The defensive coordinator fighting for him, offensive coordinator fighting for him. He that good. I'm going to say both. He is so good that we can see him get crazy busy on offense and give that crazy work on defense. That's why I said both.
I like it. I'm going to say his ceiling is higher on defense only because offensively there's so much elite talent there at the wide receiver position. Defensively, the cornerback position is kind of wide open who's the best cornerback right now. Pat Surtain, Sauce Gardner. It's open for the throne. That receiver throne is Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown.
The head coach is the offensive play caller. They're going to use them more on offense. I'm going to go offense because you can absolutely take over a game offensively, whereas defense, if they choose not to throw you the ball, you're not touching the ball. I want the best player on the field touching the ball as many times as possible. Offense.
Yeah, this was really tough. It's crazy that you're talking about a dude in that. All right. Both sides of the ball. But no, I don't got both. I'm going defense. When I watch him and I'm watching a little bit of his, because I've been following this really, really close, he looks way more comfortable and more instinctive right now as we speak on defense. You know why? Offensively, there's a lot of stuff that you have to process. You got to work on your route running. I'm not saying he's not going to get there because he's a special talent. But I think right now, stepping on the field as a rookie, more impact defensively.
Well said. Hey, Giants added Russell Wilson. We told you that early in the show. While the Cowboys traded for his former teammate in George Pickens. Shady, who's more likely to make the playoffs this year? Giants or Cowboys?
I'm going with the Giants. Yeah, y'all gotta look, man. Y'all guys can love all that hype. The new coach, Dak Prescott, he's back. George, believe all that hype. Believe all that hype. I'm taking Russ.
I'm going with the team that makes the playoffs more often than not. That's the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott is 10-0 versus the New York Giants when he starts. I like Cowboys.
It's the Cowboys. Like, the Giants have the toughest schedule in all of football. I know they got Dak, and Shady doesn't like. He's good in the regular season, though. At least he get to the playoffs.
He is.
Who said I don't like that?
I mean, in the playoffs, you don't like that.
I just he don't play good in the playoffs.
You know who do play good in the playoffs?
Russ. Talk about it. Talk about it.
I'm taking the Giants too, man. Russell Wilson, clutch situations. If both these teams gonna have success, you know what's gonna come down to the quarterback and clutch situations. I'm taking.
And I'm betting on Dayball.
I don't believe Russell Wilson has won a playoff game since 2016.
It don't matter. He got more playoff wins than Dak. He got more playoff wins than Dak, and he played better than Dak in the playoffs. Confirm that, because we're right here.
2019. Silence! Silence, everyone! Hey, NFL head coaches are always under pressure. So who is under the most pressure as the head coach this season? Shady, what coach under most pressure?
McDaniel.
That's a good answer.
Let's go to Miami. Let's go to South Beach. Don't look nowhere else. Is it Tyreek? Is it Tua? Is it Tyreek? Come on, man.
That's a
phenomenal. That's a phenomenal good answer. Callahan, Will Leviston work out, second round pick. Cam Ward can't afford to not work out.
Bad team, no.
Brian Dayball for me.
You got
quarterback, top 5 quarterback. That's a great one. They ain't won nothing in the
Let me compliment you. Why you got to compliment yourself?
That's a great one.